Welcome to Movie World Plus, the place where we talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm here to review Dune Part 2 and Dune Part 2's popcorn bucket, because you know we got to talk about this, guys. Honestly, I applaud this. This is a clever way for movie theaters to make a little bit more money, selling you these collector's items, and this was a clever one, I got to be honest. I hear they're going to be doing more for these through the movies throughout the summer, and I support this. We should give movie theaters more money, and yes, you absolutely need to go to the theaters to see Dune Part 2. It is a cinematic experience. Denis Villeneuve is a master. Regardless of whether you love Dune Part 1 or Dune Part 2, it's hard to not deny that he's delivering at a level that a lot of filmmakers aren't. I'm a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve's previous work. I loved Arrival, so freaking good. Blade Runner 2049 was wonderful as well. Look, I like a lot of his work. He clearly is a very talented filmmaker, and that shows across the screen. Now, I do think some of the critics have hyped it up maybe a little bit, in that it seems like you don't need to see one. This one's so much better. I'll say yes, it is better because more stuff kind of happens. Part 1 does leave with a cliffhanger, but make no mistake, Dune Part 2 is just like Dune Part 1. So if you didn't like Dune Part 1, it might be a bit of a struggle. I think you'll like it more just because now you know a little bit more about the world building, which is a lot to digest. And Part 2 really gets a little bit more into it, introduces new worlds outside the sand. It is, and then there is some big battle sequences, action moments. It definitely is more entertaining, I will say. And there's some really cool set pieces and ideas. And the cast is stellar. It is a wonderful cast. There's a lot of new members. We're going to break down some of those performances, etc. But just overall, yes, I liked it. I did. I really do like it. In fact, I rewatched Dune Part 1 before going in, and I suggest you all do the same, unless you really have seen it a bunch and you know it well, or you read the books. I think reminding yourself of the actions of 1 will help you going into Part 2, because there's no previously on Dune or any sort of flashbacks or anything. It gets right into it from the end of Part 1. And I'm glad I rewatched again, because the second watch really, now that you sort of know where it goes as a movie watcher, whether if you haven't read the books, you're able to enjoy a lot more of what Denis was putting out there, performances and the world that he's adapting by Frank Herbert, and 2 sinks you into that world in a more exciting way, if you will. Less exposition and more getting to where we're going to go. That said, it still does leave on a bit of a cliffhanger. I'd say less than 1, but still, there's clearly more story that Denis Villeneuve is hoping to tell, and it's very clear he's made it clear he would love to do a Part 3. Now, I did my Dune diligence on this. Come on. Give me some props. That was a good dad joke. And yes, I haven't read the books, but I talked to somebody after the screening who had. And yeah, apparently, so this is the ending to Dune, the first book, but it's clear he really wants to do Dune Messiah, which will be the next book, which is what Denis, clearly his goal is. Now, there are 6 books in total written by Frank Herbert. He died before finishing his own books. George R. R. Martin, pay attention. And so I was told even 6 leaves on a bit of a cliffhanger. These are all continued stories in this world. The question is, will Denis Villeneuve get enough money on this movie to go make Part 3 and or beyond? A lot of people said he should have turned this into a series because there's so much to digest and do and get into these worlds and the houses, etc. And I could see that now, but there's a cinematic level that I don't think they would have budgeted for if it was just for TV, that you get here in this movie, and it is beautiful to look at. This film is really well done. That's why I say you do need to see it in a big screen. Oh my God, we saw it in Dolby and in AMC Dolby, and it, like my seat was rocking, and it wasn't even those rocking chairs. It was just like the sound and the quality is so immersive and impressive. And that alone gives it like good high marks, because I want smart cinematic experiences. We should be supporting movies like this. I do wholeheartedly agree. And in rewatching Dune Part 1, I'm going to up my review from previously. And while I said it was too dense, it just took me another rewatch, and I probably should have watched it twice before reviewing it. But sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't have to do that. Sometimes I just want to enjoy the movie. I'm like, yes, good story. Dune is not one of those movies. You got to really invest. You got to be ready to invest. And if you do, the payoffs, I think, are worthy. Now, regarding Part 2, if you remember Part 1, Zendaya is not really in a lot of it. She definitely steps up in this one and becomes the love interest of Paul. The two of them sort of, his visions coming to life. And the movie, like I said, picks up right after Paul and his mother are there, adapting with the sand rats, the Freeman, and it's really then the battle moving forward of him trying to get vengeance in a way, but sort of just follow up from what his father and obviously the emperor murdering him, etc. So can he rally the Freemans to go do that? Will he become the prophecy? There's a lot in this movie that's actually very fascinating about prophecies and messiahs and false messiahs and how easy it is to manipulate people into believing messiahs, and how Paul's own journey in not wanting to become a prophet or messiah. That is my favorite part of this book, and from the movie, that I was talking to people who read the book that were like, I'm so glad that's getting in this movie treatment, because that's what the books are all about as well. And the movie, Denis does a really good job of showing you that there is a lot of politicking and corruption, religion. He's making a lot of commentary on that. Not commentary, but he's showing you the dangers of it. And I applauded that part of this story. Now, Timothée Chalamet, he's good. I don't have a problem with him. I was talking to Lewis afterwards. He just thinks these two have no chemistry. I didn't feel that way. I thought they worked. Zendaya's definitely, she delivered for me. Her character is sort of very nervous and hesitant. She's very critical of who's coming into her world and who she can trust and what are their motives. And I think she plays that well. Timothy is growing into, I'm becoming a fan slowly. I do think he's a talented actor. He's still pretty young. He's not like, super impressive to me. He does play a lot of the same stuff, but he's delivering. I understand why people are liking him. He is giving his best. There's a lot of new characters in this film, including Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan. She's pretty, looks around these things, and you learn more about the people controlling it all. Like, who is the emperor? Oh, well, it's Christopher Walken, which was nice to see him in sort of a less of a Walken-y type of role. Like, he gets to be this powerful emperor, Shaddam, and Florence Pugh is his daughter. And the two of them, we get to learn more about like the hierarchy of things and who made the call to go after the house, etc. The biggest surprise is Austin Butler. He steps up in this role like no other. He is a sociopath in this movie and villain, and he's fantastic. After seeing Elvis, and obviously he talks about not being able to lose the voice, he plays a whole nother type of crazy, weird character in this that I applaud. He, to me, was the standout newbie of this film. It was quite impressive. Not as impressive as seeing the big battle. And yes, those worms are in the movie. You're going to see them. You're going to see people surfing on them. They're going to be used in ways that were definitely more exciting than you get to see in the first movie. So that alone, I do want to hype. Like, it's long. This movie does feel like its length, but I still was invested and I wasn't bored. But there were points where I was just checking, like, what else are we going to get to? Oh my God, what time? And I'm like, oh wow, there's still a lot left. I wasn't mad at it, but be prepared. It's like 2 hours and 48 minutes. It's just as long as the first one, but it does feel like it goes through more stuff. So be prepared. Some people will be annoyed by that. I didn't. I didn't feel it's time. I could have sit there another half hour easily. There's a lot of world building now, and now that we're in part two, I was more invested. I will admit that. It'll be very interesting to see, though, how many audiences come into this, because the first one wasn't a huge hit, partially to blame because it was also released on Max, which was really frustrating. It'll be interesting to see if that helped or hurt in part two in building awareness. And, the cast, they're out there doing heavy promotion. The young cast is out there, Florence Pugh and Austin Butler, Timothy and Zendaya. They're out there trying to get the younger audience in. And I hope they all go see this, because look, at the end of the day, yes, this is a very well-made film. It's nice to see a sort of an IP franchise that also feels very adult, artistic, cinematic, a master at work. And it is a lot of themes that are really strong. We're getting a lot of this CGI'd Star Wars crap, and this one's actually a very in-depth, fascinating sci-fi story. And now that we're getting into more of it, I can see the conflicts and why so many people are invested in this story. And, who's the hero, who's not? Should he be looked up to? Is he the Messiah? There are a lot of questions here that I think are worthy of everyone getting involved and getting excited about Dune. So Yeah, I will say overall, thumbs up for me. I like this one more. It helped me get more into the franchise in total, and I hope others will as well. But be prepared. Yes, you do have to invest and really be prepared and pay attention. It's not just a sit back and watch and garbage type of Madam Web. This is the complete opposite. It is delivering in all cylinders, and you're watching a master filmmaker in art. And I got to say, I applaud even the movie theater stepping up, because who would have thought this would become a thing? I mean, we were all joking, like it feels like a fleshlight too. I mean, I guess you could do it. Whoa, jeez. It's my hand's kind of big, so I didn't get popcorn. I wouldn't actually want to eat popcorn in there because it's like, now I feel like a Mega Man. Pew pew. It's hard to get it in and out of there, but it's a very soft little rubber, and I just bought it because I was like, I gotta get this. This is one of those moments, a collector's item moment, that I feel like I'll look back and be glad I grabbed, because regardless of what happens, this is a phase that I think we're going to start to see of new movie theater buckets, creative buckets. I heard Deadpool's making a big joke. You can't just wait until you see what our bucket is. I think a lot of studios stepping up with AMC and theater chains to build these, and I applaud that they actually took the initiative to make it. This was $25 just to get the bucket. And it's a nice metal tin, but it felt like a good collector's item. So I'm happy I got it. You guys can pick it up at I think it's at AMC theaters. I don't know if it's only there, but get your Dune Sandworm fleshlight popcorn bucket today. But overall, yeah, I gotta say, I'm impressed with Dune Part 2. A little overhyped, but it still is good. I can't deny that it should be hyped. This is a gorgeous movie, such an epic scale. So well shot, such great acting across the board with everybody involved. It's a really good ensemble. And yes, enough teasing and hype still that I would check out Part 3. I really would. What do you think? Are you excited for Dune? Are you going to see Dune in theaters? I want to hear your thoughts down below. If you haven't already subscribed here to my movie channel, please consider hitting that button and the bell. Smash that like button and stay tuned for our future reviews, which we just do here for fun, have a chat. Appreciate you guys so much watching here at Movie World Plus. Check out Popcorn Planet as well. We cover pop culture news. Appreciate you all so much. Stay tuned for more.